Hello, and the purpose of this video is to comment on the incoming upsurge of radical environmental activism, which apparently will kick off in the UK on April the 9th. So in the spring. So this is going to be in the spring, basically, the radical environmentalist movement will come back, right? And so this is something I need to comment on. Now, I am simply going to comment on it from the perspective of metamodernism, and metamodernism assumes multi-perspectivism. So in this video, I am going to explore 4 different perspectives on radical ecology in 2022, right? Radical ecology in 2022. And before I say that, I want to say that as far as I am concerned, here in the town where here in Sweden, the sort of the ecology movement came back in October of 2021, when they had the Fridays for Future staged a series of the global demonstration, right? I mean, Fridays for Future is basically a youth movement. It's a youth movement of young people who are concerned with environmental issues, right? They're like a spontaneous green youth movement. That's what I see them as. And so they started their activity in October of 2021. But now, the rest of the radical environmentalist movement is going to catch up with them, right? And Fridays for Future is by no means radical. Fridays for Future is not radical. Fridays for Future is sort of like an appeal to reason coming out from the very young people. You know, it's like a youth appeal to reason. That's what Fridays for Future is. Contextualizes a mass movement of youth, basically. But it is not a radical movement, right? It's just it is a sort of like a consciousness raising movement. That's how I see Fridays for Future. But in the description, I'm going to put a link to an exhibit that talks about the Fridays for Future demonstration in one city here in Sweden. Okay, so I'm going to put a link in the description to that, and you can see it's an exhibit that I hung on a blog, on a weblog. But okay, so April 9th, right? Apparently, April 9th is when Extinction Rebellion is going to stage a major action in the United Kingdom. So, I am going to read what Extinction Rebellion UK has to say, the statement they posted, right? And this is going to be the first perspective. The first perspective is that of UK. The first, okay, in this video, I'm trying to explore radical ecology perspectives in 2022, right? So there are 4 that I'm going to explore here, right? So the first perspective is out of Extinction Rebellion UK, and they say, next UK rebellion, as our planet passes multiple tipping points and the UK sleepwalks into authoritarianism, what XR does this year affects everything. With a simple, unstoppable rebellion design, we will make space for thousands of new people to join us in April and tip the scales once again towards radical change on the climate and ecological emergency. Join the rebellion in London, 10 a.m. on 9th April at Hyde Park. In April, we call on everyone to take action and demand an end to the fossil economy. For the UK government to immediately stop the harm that is happening right now and end fossil fuel investments. We will facilitate a mass flood of people to grind the capital to a halt, causing maximum material disruption and making meeting the immediate demand politically unavoidable. Our disruption will not stop until the fossil fuel economy comes to an end. So yeah. So basically the strategy that Extinction Rebellion is in the UK is pursuing is that of mass nonviolent civil disobedience. And back 10 years ago, when it was the Occupy movement, this tactic was proposed but never carried out. But Extinction Rebellion is carrying it out. And just to, as a disclaimer, if you look at the theoretical material coming out of Extinction Rebellion, they have like a theoretical pamphlet. in there, Extinction Rebellion differentiates itself from Occupy. In fact, the strategies of Extinction Rebellion are premised upon a critical review of the failure of Occupy. So they don't want to make the same mistakes Occupy made. That's one of the premises of Extinction Rebellion. So, okay, so that's perspective number one of radical ecology in 2022. Okay, perspective number two comes from the Trotskyist movement. And the Marxist Trotskyist, the Marxist Trotskyist Grant Wood's tendency of orthodox Trotskyism has come up with a thesis on the climate crisis. A thesis on the climate crisis. There you go. IMT thesis on the climate crisis. IMT stands for International Marxist Tendency, which is the Grant Wood's tendency of orthodox Trotskyism. One of the four active right now. There are two orthodox, one ultra-orthodox, and one revisionist tendency of Trotskyism active right now. So, but in Sweden, the International Marxist Tendency, only the International Marxist Tendency has a chapter in Sweden, which is called Marxist.se, right? But, so I'm going to read their, some excerpts from their thesis on climate change, right? So, okay, climate change presents a colossal threat to humanity and has motivated huge protests, particularly by young people in the last period. Only a socialist transformation of society with production planned democratically by the working class in harmony with the planet can end the threat of climate change. Yeah, so that's the premise of it. Let's see. The rainforests are burning. Wildfires rage across Australia and California. Floods are devastating Indonesia and Bangladesh. Whole islands and coastal areas are rapidly submerging. Droughts and famines are creating an exodus of refugees. Heat waves in Europe are killing thousands every summer. Entire species are disappearing from the planet every day. The climate crisis is not a hypothetical problem for future generations, but is here and now. Right. So there's a sense of urgency. Yeah, according to the Grant Wood's tendency of orthodox Trotskyism, whose name is International Marxist Tendency. Mass movements of students and youth have taken to the streets worldwide in response. The oceans are rising and so are we, read one placard in London. Millions have participated in these international protests. In September 2019, an estimated 6 million people took part in the Fridays for Future global climate strikes. Cities in the US, Canada, Germany, Italy, and Britain saw demonstrations of hundreds of thousands, right? So, and they maintain that capitalism is killing the planet. Under capitalism, it is big business that decides what is produced and how it is produced. But this is not done according to any plan. Instead, our economy is left to the so-called invisible hand, that is, to the anarchy of the market. Corporations will cut corners and write rugshod up through regulations, whatever necessary, in order to reduce costs, outcompete their rivals, capture new markets, and minimize their profits. This race to the bottom, however, is not simply the product of greedy bosses. It is a logical result of the economic laws of capitalism, a system based on private ownership, competition, and production for profit. Okay. So that's the Trotskyist perspective right there. That I am enunciating this perspective does not necessarily mean that I agree with everything it says. I'm simply communicating what this perspective on the climate crisis is. Okay. Okay. This is the scale of the promise is the scale of the problem is enormous. Global warming must be limited to 1.5 degrees Celsius in order to avert environmental catastrophe. To achieve this, total greenhouse gas emissions would need to be reduced by 45% by 2030 and reach net zero levels by 2050. The science and technology to achieve this exist. Electricity grids must be decarbonized with wind, solar, and tidal power. Cars and transport systems should be shifted to electricity, batteries, and hydrogen. Energy efficiency measures could dramatically reduce energy demands from household and industry. Pollution levels could be slashed. Food could be grown sustainably. Waste could be recycled. Swaths of forests could be replanted. Okay, so that's basically the Marxist Trotskyist position. It is yeah, okay. I'm trying to keep this video under 30. According to the new rules of Season 2 I gotta keep this video under 30 minutes, so I need to hurry up here. Let's see if there's something else I can add. Of course, I'm gonna put a link in the description to this thesis, which is very long, but yeah, yeah, but so let's see. Okay, this is another criticism. Where is the money going to come from under capitalism to pay for the dramatic changes required? The world economy is drowning in debt in the wake of the 2008 slump, a decade of austerity and a new deep depression triggered by the pandemic, COVID-19. Further cuts, not investment, are on the order of the day. Addressing the climate crisis is now the last thing on the ruling class's mind. The capitalists will not invest in the measures required for the simple reason that it is not profitable to do so. Indeed, technologies such as renewable energy, which could potentially provide an abundance of green, clean, near zero cost electricity, fundamentally clash with the profit motive and the market system. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, so yeah, so okay, so that's the thesis of the international Marxist tendency, which is the Grant Wood's tendency of orthodox Trotskyism. Now let's look at another perspective, and this is the perspective from coming out of the Swedish Communist Party. SWEDISH Kommunistiska Partiet, right? And SWEDISH Kommunistiska Partiet is anti-Trotskyist. They're anti-Trotskyist. So here, this will be a far left, not anti-Trotskyist perspective. With the IMT, you get the far left Trotskyist perspective. Here, you will get the far left anti-Trotskyist perspective. Okay, so there's a contrast here. So we can contrast the two viewpoints and see what that is in this critical review. Where is the thing that I had just now? Okay, I see. Yeah, I want to just, okay, let me just, I'm going to obviously, instead of reading the Swedish, instead of me translating the Swedish, I think it's best if I put it to Google Translate. You know, you can get a more accurate translation. So let's see, Google Translate app, here we are, okay. Sweden's Communist Party is undoubtedly on the side of socialism. A socialism that must take responsibility for stopping the destruction of the earth, building up production that is broadly environmentally friendly, and giving the working population worldwide the opportunity to create a sustainable and healthy life. A socialism that creates space for research and experiments that can lead us away from the abyss of disaster. A socialism that stands for a thinking, dialectical development which takes into account and help to develop new knowledge in terms of course, the environmental crisis, right? In other words, develop new knowledge means, I guess they mean that like development of renewable energy technologies, for example. So that would be an approach to do here. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, it is a big task, a crucial task. The working people must not only take the lead and power over production, they must not only abolish the class society and build a just society, they must also take responsibility for the earth to continue to be a home for humanity for centuries to come. It has never been more important to have a communist party that can lead that struggle. Today, there is a great awareness and a deep concern about the climate, and the party's task is to put this into context, to link the climate threat to capitalism, and to make the environmental struggle revolutionary. Okay, exactly. So, yeah, they want a revolution on the environmental issue, you know. That's the difference between, you know, yeah, so... yeah, they want, you know, they want their revolution, which I completely, I agree. Quite frankly, given the problem, I can understand why people want a revolutionary change, because if you look at the science, if you look at the science of what's going on, you can tell that, there is an urgency to the problem. So obviously that makes people draw revolutionary conclusions or radical conclusions, right? I'm not, surprised. So, okay. And in the introduction video to the season 2 of this channel, I said that I was not going to cover or pay attention to the politics of the Swedish partitocracy, the what I called in a previous era. Before I learned the word partitocracy from the agorists, I used to call them the parliamentary cretins, but I think that I rather call them the partitocracy. That's more accurate. The political class in Sweden, these people in the parliament, are an oligarchy. They are an oligarchy of professional politicians, who arrogate for themselves the right to rule. Right. It sort of leads credit the oligarchy of parliamentary politicians sort of gives credence to the Marxist idea of the capitalist government being a committee for the management of the collective affairs of the bourgeoisie, right? Something like that. I mean, that's like, classical language, classical radical language, but maybe accurate. I rather think that Swedish parliament is more like the Roman Senate, but that's just my personal opinion. Anyways, I will cite what the Green Party has to say about this issue, because obviously the Green Party is concerned with climate change. At least prima facie. I mean, unfortunately, the Greens, the mistake the Greens made is that they became part of the partitocracy. And I hope that, I think that if the Greens were really, because I've read their party program, and there is a lot of things in the Green Party program that are very good in context of, if you look at it from the perspective of radical ecology, okay? And I don't mean good in the sense good that I agree with it, good in the sense that a lot of the things that are in the Green Party program are congruent with the ideas coming out of the radical ecology movement, right? The problem is, though, my critique of the Green Party, though, is that they seem to have become part of the partitocracy. Instead of, I would say that if they want to be genuine to the ideas of environmentalism, they should become a critical and opponent of the partitocracy, and while keeping their foothold in the parliament, they should seek to organize the streets, meaning that the Green Party should get together with Extinction Rebellion and Fridays for Future, and or something like that. But right, if the Green Party was really interested in achieving environmental goals, right, it would do that. But it's up to them to do what they want to do. I'm not. Again, I'm not an advisor to the partitocracy or to the parliament or whatever. So I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to read what the Green Party program has to say about the climate in their party program, okay? And I have the English version of their party program. You can download it for free from their website, miljöpartiet.se, okay? And I want to say, I think that the Green politicians are well-meaning people. I think they're well-meaning people. If you look at it from a perspective of the ideas of ecology, from which the Green movement emerged circa 1986 in Germany. The Green movement, in the sense of the Green Party movement, look, in West Germany in 1986, right? That's when this thing emerged. I think that if you look at it from the perspective of the belief system of radical ecology or whatever, I think the Green Party politicians are well-meaning people, but they're in a bad environment because they're well-meaning people in context of the Roman Senate, which is the Swedish parliament. So that's the problem. But that's just, again, it's my opinion. But and this channel is entirely subjective. This is a subjective. Everything that you hear being said, any critical review, anything that I say is subjective. This is subjective. It's my own personal subjectivity. Okay. You can agree or disagree, and if you agree or disagree, you go in the comment section and you say what you want. If you disagree, say so. If you agree, say so. The comment section is open. I'm not going to delete anything. The only thing I have to delete is pornography or commercial advertisement. That I cannot allow because it goes against YouTube rules. And also, if you comment on the comment section, remember, YouTube requires that you be respectful in your comments or whatever. So I don't care if you insult me. You can, if you want to, call me names or whatever, go ahead and do it. The problem is that YouTube might delete your comment. I won't delete it, but YouTube would. Anyhow, I'm going to read what the Green Party has to say about the climate, okay, in their party program. The current and accelerating climate change is jeopardizing our future. It does not only affect the lives of individuals, but also the global economy and the survival of entire nations. Despite our knowledge, let me see the time. Okay, I need to hurry up. Despite our knowledge of all this, the greenhouse gas emissions keep growing. Sweden should be a leader in decreasing man-made climate change. We are one of the countries that were industrialized early, and we have a historical responsibility for the emissions caused while we built our prosperity. We are still causing much higher emissions per capita than what is globally sustainable. Sweden is also in a uniquely good position to lead the transition to a sustainable society and show the opportunities of an alternative model of development. That would give our transition a greater effect than just what is gained from our own emissions reductions. Sweden should have a leading role in international climate negotiations and develop climate cooperation between countries, while we show solidarity in action by strong support to poorer nations. In order to be credible, Sweden's emissions of greenhouse gases must immediately shrink to a globally sustainable level. In order to reach the climate goals, the pace of development of green technologies must increase. The combined energy and resource consumption must come down to a sustainable level. We need new policies that facilitate the transition to a more sustainable lifestyle. Consumption with a negative climate impact, such as a fossil fuel, transportation, fossil energy, and animal products, must be reduced. Political action must combine with civic commitment for a more sustainable lifestyle. Such a lifestyle change will be different for different people. By traveling more environmentally friendly, buying more local produce, eating more vegetarian food, making more effective use of energy at home, and consuming less gadgets, we increase our possibilities to live a good life within the limits of nature. Again, this is our lifestyle stuff. This lifestyle stuff is not part of the radical ecology tradition, okay? I mean, certain aspects of it are, but that's not the main thing. That's not the main solution. That's just a secondary thing. Main solution is to transform the industrial system. But yeah. But again, the Greens are not revolutionary. The Greens are not radical or revolutionary, but whatever. We are convinced that a climate-smart society is also better for people. New policies and new attitudes will make it possible for more people to value leisure time and close relationships higher than salaried work and material status. In order to meet the climate goals, we need a climate policy framework with binding caps on our climate impact in Sweden as well as internationally. Powerful economic instruments are necessary. Climate-smart choices should be cheaper. Subsidies harmful to the climate should be phased out, and climate goals should govern investments and in infrastructure. Drilling for gas and oil and mining for uranium should be banned in Sweden. Peat should be regarded as a fossil fuel. At the international level, we want to work towards a moratorium on all new sources of fossil fuels. To reduce the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, carbon capture and storage or other methods of binding greenhouse gases might be needed. However, there must not become an excuse for continued emissions. The precautionary principle should be used in order not to cause new environmental problems when we try to solve the old ones. Major changes demand that people get together. Decentralized energy production, new transportation habits, and sustainable consumption habits are some examples of measures included in the transition we have to achieve together. An offensive climate policy must be combined with efforts to increase equality and equity. That's all wonderful. Everything that the Green Party said here is wonderful, except that you're never going to achieve any of this from the parliament, okay? The parliament is never going to deliver these goals. It can't. Okay, it can't. So to believe that you're gonna get all these good things out of the parliament is naive. Yeah. But again, in the interest of fairness, I have to report what the Green Party, believes. And again, that I say that that they're naive because they have faith in the parliament is my own subjective opinion, right? So. But anyways, that just covers, I would say, that would be radical ecology in 2022. Okay, just a quick review of radical ecology, where radical ecology stands in 2022. I just said it. So look in the description for links to the material I've cited. Okay, thank you for watching this episode, this video. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Bye.